Leadership isn't a title. It's a decision you make every day. In today's world, the pressure to lead is everywhere. Be more confident, speak up in meetings, run your own business, take control. But behind the motivational quotes and LinkedIn posts, most people are struggling silently, struggling to be taken seriously, struggling to find their voice, struggling to believe they belong in the room at all. The truth is, leadership feels terrifying when you don't see yourself as that kind of person, when you're used to following, when you're quiet by nature, when you're still figuring yourself out. And yet, the demand for leadership never goes away. Your team needs direction. Your family looks to you. Your future requires someone to take the wheel. That's where the leader in you comes in. This isn't a book about barking orders or playing politics. It's about discovering the quiet, powerful force inside you, the kind of leadership that starts with self-awareness, empathy, and courage. Dale Carnegie doesn't teach you to dominate. He teaches you how to influence, connect, and grow without changing who you are. If you've ever felt like leadership was for other people, this audiobook is for you. Welcome to Summary Cortex, your home for powerful book summaries and life-changing ideas. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. Leadership begins the moment you stop waiting for permission. Most people think leadership is about status, a job title, a corner office, or a team reporting to you. But Dale Carnegie opens this book with a very different idea. Leadership is a mindset, and it begins the moment you take ownership of your influence, no matter your title, age, or experience. Here's the truth. In today's world, people aren't waiting for more bosses. They're looking for people who can create calm in chaos, direction in doubt, trust in confusion. That's what leadership is. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Kristen, a 28-year-old customer support rep in North Carolina, didn't manage anyone. She wasn't in charge, but her department was struggling. Long hold times, angry customers, low morale. Everyone was complaining, including her. Then one day, she stopped venting and started thinking. She tracked patterns, created a simple checklist to reduce call escalations, shared it with her teammates. Within weeks, average resolution time dropped by 14%. Her manager took notice, and a few months later, promoted her to lead training for new hires. Kristen didn't wait to be chosen. She simply decided to make things better, and that choice made her a leader. That's what Carnegie is trying to teach. Leadership isn't about having power, it's about taking responsibility. It begins with questions like, what can I improve, even if it's not my job? Who can I help today, even if I won't get credit? What example am I setting, even when no one's watching? One of Carnegie's biggest insights is this: people follow clarity, not authority. If you can stay calm when others panic, communicate clearly when others ramble, or make progress when others complain, people will begin to trust you. And trust is the real currency of leadership. We live in a culture obsessed with influence, but we've forgotten that real influence starts with consistency, not charisma. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to lead with intention, not ego. Carnegie also emphasizes that every interaction is a leadership moment. How you respond to criticism, how you deal with conflict, how you motivate others through encouragement, not fear. Each of these moments either builds your leadership muscle or weakens it. Let's go back to Kristen for a second. Her promotion didn't come because she was the smartest. It came because she created solutions without being asked. She encouraged her team without waiting for authority. She didn't need permission, just purpose. That's the message of this first chapter. If you're waiting for someone to hand you a title, you're missing the point. Leadership is not something you're assigned. It's something you grow into, one intentional action at a time. It starts when you stop saying, "That's not my job," and you start saying, "How can I make this better?" Whether you're a barista or a founder, an intern or a parent, the moment you take ownership of your environment, your attitude, and your impact, you're leading. And once you understand that, everything changes. Chapter 2. You lead best when you listen first. Dale Carnegie believed that the most powerful leaders aren't the ones who talk the most, they're the ones who listen the best. And yet, in our fast-moving world, genuine listening has become rare. Most people listen just long enough to reply, not to understand. Real leaders do it differently. They slow down. They pay attention. They ask deeper questions. Why? Because people open up when they feel seen, and when they open up, trust begins. Let me give you an example. Victor, a regional sales manager in Phoenix, was struggling with his team. Missed quotas, low morale, rising tension. He tried motivational speeches, bonuses, even stricter tracking. Nothing worked. Then he tried something radical. He shut up and listened. He booked 15-minute one-on-ones with every rep and just asked, "What's one thing I'm not seeing?" He got answers he didn't expect. One team member felt overlooked, another felt burned out, and one confessed they were considering quitting. By simply listening, not fixing, not defending, Victor rebuilt connection, and performance followed. Carnegie's principle, make the other person feel important, and do it sincerely. Listening isn't soft, it's strategic, because once people feel heard, they'll start hearing you. Chapter 3. Connection is more powerful than control. Some people think leadership is about command, getting others to follow your vision, but Carnegie flips that. He shows us that real leadership is about connection first, influence second. Here's why. When people feel like you understand them, they want to support you, but if they feel like you're just using them for outcomes, they'll do the bare minimum. Let's look at Tanya, an operations supervisor in St. Louis. She was smart and fast, but frustrated with her team. "They don't care. They don't take ownership," she told me. Turns out, she hadn't built any relationship with them, just tasks, deadlines, and corrections. So we tried a new approach. For 2 weeks, she made it a point to ask every team member one personal question every morning. Nothing deep, just, "How's your weekend?" or "How's your kid doing with school?" Something shifted. Slowly, they started opening up, asking for feedback, owning mistakes, volunteering to help each other, because once they felt like she cared, they trusted. And when trust shows up, performance follows. Carnegie's rule is simple. You win hearts before you win hands. Chapter 4. Praise works better than pressure. Most workplaces still run on correction. Catch mistakes, fix errors, give feedback. But Carnegie teaches a different approach. Catch people doing things right, and say something. Because encouragement isn't fluff, it's fuel. Here's proof. Isaac, a call center manager in Dallas, used to run weekly performance reviews, focused on what agents were doing wrong. But he noticed people dreaded his meetings, even when their metrics were solid. So he flipped the script. Every one-on-one started with one genuine praise point. Then, and only then, did they move to development feedback. In 3 months, employee satisfaction scores improved, so did retention. Because people don't need you to lie, they need you to notice. Carnegie writes, "Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise," which means say more of the good stuff out loud. When you call out effort, consistency, kindness, or growth, you give people a reason to rise. Chapter 5. People are moved by emotion, not logic. You can have the best ideas, the smartest plan, and the right answer, but if you can't move people emotionally, they won't follow you. That's why Carnegie emphasizes storytelling, empathy, and connection, not just information. Let's talk about Darren, a financial advisor in Denver. He kept trying to get his clients to save more and invest smarter. His strategy was bulletproof, but clients didn't follow through. Then he changed his approach. Instead of showing graphs, he told them stories, like the couple who retired early and traveled because they stayed disciplined, or the single mom who built security by starting small. Suddenly, his clients got it, because logic reaches the head, emotion reaches the heart. Carnegie's advice: appeal to what people care about, not just what you think they should do. If you want someone to act, speak to their values, because decisions aren't driven by facts, they're driven by feelings. Chapter 6. Let others shine. It makes you stronger, not smaller. Weak leaders crave credit. Strong leaders give it away. Carnegie explains that when you lift others up, recognize their strengths, include them in wins, let them lead, your influence expands. Take Maria, a marketing director in Sacramento. For years, she kept tight control of campaigns, wanting everything perfect. But her team stayed passive. No initiative, no ideas. Her coach challenged her. What if you stopped being the smartest person in the room? So she handed one key launch to her junior associate and publicly praised him in front of the team. The result? Others stepped up too. Within months, her team was humming with energy, and she was promoted to vice president. Why? Because she proved she could lead through others, not just above them. Carnegie reminds us, when you give people responsibility and respect, they give you back loyalty and excellence. Leadership isn't about showing off. It's about showing others what they're capable of. Chapter 7. Criticism doesn't motivate, coaching does. Carnegie makes a powerful claim. Direct criticism rarely changes people. It just makes them defensive. Most people don't respond to being told, "You're wrong." They shut down, argue, or smile while quietly resenting you. Let me show you a better way. Trey, a general manager at a restaurant in Nashville, had a line cook who kept showing up late. Instead of snapping, he asked him after work, "Can I get your advice on something?" "What would you do if someone on your team kept being late?" The cook laughed and said, "I'd probably fire them." Trey smiled. "That's exactly where I'm at. I don't want that to be you." No yelling, no guilt, just reflection. The cook was never late again. Carnegie says, ask questions, use suggestion, let them save face. Because when people feel safe, they change faster. You can be firm without being harsh, and you can correct someone without crushing them. Chapter 8. Let people talk. It builds influence. Most people think the key to influence is saying the right thing. Carnegie flips that. Letting others talk is what wins them over. Why? Because people like those who make them feel heard. Let me give you a perfect example. Monique, a recruiter in Minneapolis, used to pitch jobs hard. Salary, perks, company culture. She was convincing, but not closing. Then she switched her approach. Instead of selling, she asked deeper questions. What do you want more of in your next role? And then she listened. Her close rate doubled because she made people feel understood, not targeted. Carnegie teaches, ask more, speak less, let them open up, then speak directly to what they revealed. People rarely follow someone who talks too much, but they almost always follow someone who listens deeply. Chapter 9. You can't inspire anyone if you don't believe in them first. Carnegie leaves us with this powerful truth. People often rise to the expectations you set for them. Treat someone like they're lazy. They'll prove you right. Treat someone like they're capable, and they'll surprise you. Take Eli, a high school principal in Indianapolis. One of his students had failing grades and repeated detentions. Teachers labeled him trouble. But Eli didn't buy it. He met with the student weekly, gave him a small job organizing sports equipment, praised him in front of the gym teacher. Within a semester, the student's behavior changed. He passed every class, even joined the debate team. Eli said, I just gave him a chance to see himself differently. Carnegie's lesson, people live up or down to how you treat them. Leadership means seeing potential before it's proven. When you lead someone with belief, they start believing in themselves. Chapter 10. Handling people means understanding people. One of Dale Carnegie's most timeless ideas is this. If you want to lead people, you have to understand what drives them. Not just what they say, but what they need. That means recognizing that people aren't always motivated by money or logic. Often, they're driven by recognition, autonomy, purpose, or simply the desire to feel seen. Let me show you what this looks like. Jason, a facilities supervisor in Ohio, had a custodial team that was constantly missing small details. Trash left behind, floors not polished. He considered disciplinary action, but instead he paused. He asked them, "What's the hardest part of your day?" They said, "We feel invisible. No one says thank you. No one notices when we do it right." Jason didn't expect that, so he printed a wall of appreciation, photos of each team member with client compliments and peer shoutouts. Results? Pride went up, mistakes went down. Not because of new rules, but because of respect. Carnegie says, The person who understands others' emotions will always lead ahead of the one who just pushes tasks. Chapter 11. Your energy affects everyone. Control it. We've all felt it, walking into a room and sensing someone's energy before they even speak. Leaders set the emotional tone, and Carnegie is crystal clear about this. Your attitude is contagious, whether you realize it or not. Let's take Heather, a nurse manager in Boston. When her unit was under pressure, she would pace, sigh, and get snappy. She wasn't trying to intimidate anyone. She was stressed, but her team absorbed that stress like a sponge. So she tried something new. Before every shift, she paused in her car, 5 minutes, breathed, recentered. She entered the room with calm clarity, even when chaos awaited. Her staff noticed. One even said, "When you're calm, we stay calm." That's leadership. Carnegie's insight. People don't just follow your words, they follow your state. If you can stay steady, especially under pressure, others will mirror that strength. You're not just managing tasks, you're managing the temperature of the room. Chapter 12. Make people feel valued and they'll do more than expected. This chapter goes beyond motivation. It's about human dignity. Carnegie reminds us, people crave acknowledgement more than we realize. And when you treat someone like they matter, they start showing up with more effort, more pride, and more loyalty. Consider Leon, a shift supervisor at a warehouse in Detroit. His team was solid, but no one went above and beyond. He started doing something simple. Every Friday, he wrote one short, handwritten thank you card to a team member, specific, personal, and real. Within 6 weeks, the energy changed. People stayed late without being asked. They solved problems proactively. One worker even framed the card at home. Leon didn't give raises or speeches. He gave something deeper, recognition. Carnegie's principle is simple. Make the other person feel important, and do it sincerely. You don't need a budget to make someone feel seen. You just need attention. And attention is the fuel of loyalty. Chapter 13. You influence more by asking than by telling. This chapter flips a traditional leadership habit, giving orders. Carnegie suggests that instead of commanding people, ask for their input or phrase your request as a question. It softens resistance and invites ownership. Let's look at Brittany, a creative director in San Diego. When projects lagged, her instinct was to say, "We need that done by Friday." But it created tension. People felt bossed around. She switched to, "Do you think it's realistic to have that ready by Friday?" That small shift created conversation. People opened up about blockers. Some even offered to help each other. Carnegie's insight? Asking creates buy-in. Telling creates pushback. When people feel involved in the process, they feel responsible for the outcome. Leadership isn't about directing. It's about enrolling others into a shared mission. Chapter 14. Let people save face, even when they're wrong. One of the most underrated leadership skills is letting people retain their dignity. When someone messes up, correcting them publicly or harshly doesn't just hurt, it creates resentment, shame, and fear. Carnegie says, always allow others to save face. Here's a real-world example. Thomas, a team lead in Miami, once had an employee make a major client presentation error. His gut reaction was anger, but in the meeting, he calmly said, "Let's circle back on that data after the call." Then privately, he debriefed with the employee, respectfully, clearly, and without embarrassment. That team member didn't shut down. In fact, he improved dramatically and thanked Thomas for his discretion. That's what leadership looks like, correcting without crushing. People already know when they mess up. What they don't know is whether you'll protect them or expose them. Choose wisely. Chapter 15. Give people a reputation to live up to. Here's one of Carnegie's most powerful strategies. If you want someone to grow, speak to the version of them you believe they can become. Don't say, "You're always late." Say, "You've always been someone who shows up when it matters." Let's take Jamal, a high school basketball coach in Atlanta. One player was lazy in drills, unmotivated. Instead of calling him out, Jamal told the team, "This guy's got the best work ethic on the squad. I've seen it. He just hasn't fully unleashed it yet." That player was stunned, but the next day, he showed up early and kept showing up. Why? Because he didn't want to let that reputation slip away. Carnegie's magic is this: people rise to your belief in them or fall to your doubt. So give them a role they want to grow into. Speak to their potential, not just their past. Because often, your words shape the story they start believing about themselves. Chapter 16. Start with what they're doing right. When things go wrong, our instinct is to point out mistakes. But Carnegie flips that instinct with this principle: begin with praise and honest appreciation. Because when you start with what someone's doing well, you open them up. Their guard drops, their ears open, their ego relaxes. Let me show you how this works. Carmen, a department head in Chicago, had an employee who was missing deadlines. Her usual style was direct. "This is unacceptable. We need to talk." But this time, she paused. She started the conversation with, "I appreciate how much effort you've put into this project, and your attention to detail hasn't gone unnoticed." Then she said, "Let's talk about how we can improve timing without sacrificing quality." Same goal, different outcome. The employee left feeling challenged, not attacked, and delivered faster work moving forward. Carnegie's rule isn't about flattery, it's about respectful influence. Start with appreciation, then guide improvement, because people protect their pride more than their paycheck. Chapter 17. Ask for small wins first. One of the smartest ways to influence someone is to get them to say yes early to small, reasonable requests. Carnegie calls this the principle of consistency. When someone says yes once, they're more likely to say yes again. Let's talk about Doug, a nonprofit director in Portland. He needed his board to approve a controversial policy shift, one they were hesitant about. So he didn't start with the full proposal. He started with, "Can we all agree that transparency is something we value here?" Heads nodded. Then, "And we want to be more responsive to community feedback, right?" Yes, again. By the time he reached the actual proposal, resistance had softened. Why? Because people had already agreed with the values behind it. Carnegie's insight: don't push people into a decision. Lead them into alignment. People don't like being told what to think, but they do like realizing they already agree with you. Chapter 18. Frame change as their idea. If you've ever tried to convince someone to change, you've seen the resistance, defensiveness, excuses, delay. Carnegie knew this well. That's why he taught, let the other person feel the idea is theirs. It's not manipulation, it's understanding psychology. Here's a great example. Nina, a product lead in Austin, needed her dev team to switch project timelines, which they hated. Rather than forcing it, she sat down and said, "What would happen if we reversed the testing phase and user feedback cycle?" The lead dev paused, then said, "That might actually save us 2 weeks. Boom. Done. Because he said it. He saw it. Carnegie knew people support what they help create. So if you want real buy-in, don't just pitch your idea. Plant the seed and let them water it. Chapter 19. Appeal to higher motives. Sometimes facts and logic aren't enough. You're asking people to do something hard, something inconvenient, and the why matters. That's why Carnegie reminds us, appeal to people's higher selves, purpose, identity, values. Like Josh, a warehouse manager in Kansas City. He needed volunteers for weekend shifts, no extra pay. No one stepped up. Then he reframed it. He gathered the team and said, "This company's never missed a holiday order in 15 years. We've always been the group that delivers, and if we hold that line now, it'll say everything about who we are." 6 hands went up, because he wasn't asking for labor. He was asking them to protect something they're proud of. Carnegie's principle, people will do hard things if they feel it means something. Speak to their identity, not just their schedule. Chapter 20. Make change feel easy, not risky. The final chapter is about how to lower resistance by making change feel safe. People fear loss, Fear embarrassment, fear being wrong, so they stall. Carnegie's solution: reassure, normalize, reduce the risk. Case in point, Emily, a senior HR partner in Seattle, wanted to roll out a new feedback tool. Managers resisted. Too complicated, too risky. So she created a 7-day trial. No commitment, no public scores. Just try it and see. Within a week, 80% adopted it. Why? Because it didn't feel like change. It felt like exploration. Carnegie writes, make the thing you want them to do seem easy to do. Whether it's a conversation, a proposal, or a new habit, lower the stakes. Invite progress, not perfection, and you'll find people move faster than you thought possible. If this book moved you, our next audiobook will go even deeper. The Art of War by Sun Tzu, available in the end screen and description below. Thank you for listening to Summary Cortex.